Hey everyone, Ian here from Coastal Drone. At UAV Expo 2025, I came across something that really stood out. Modovolo, a company building drones with a completely different approach, 3D printing. Instead of relying on complex global supply chains, their idea is simple but powerful. Manufacture drones wherever they're needed. With large-scale 3D printers, you can produce the parts on site, assemble them quickly, and even reprint components if they break. That makes drones more adaptable, more affordable, and much easier to maintain. What's especially interesting is the flexibility. In remote regions or industries like construction, resource management, or emergency response, being able to print, repair, and fly without waiting for weeks for parts, that could be a game changer. Tim and the Modovolo team are still refining their design, testing, crashing, revising, and pushing towards production. But the vision is clear, a modular, customizable drone platform that can be licensed, adapted, and even manufactured closer to where it's flown. So of course, we also talked about pricing, their test pilot program, and how they're inviting operators like you to help shape the platform. This is a fresh take on drone manufacturing, one that could shift how we think about scaling drone operations. So let's jump into my conversation with Tim at Modovolo. So we're with Tim here with Modovolo. Nice to meet you, Tim.
Nice to meet you too. I think it's Italian for smooth flying or something like that.
Okay, awesome. So came by Tim, he's got a 3D printed drone, right?
That's right.
Is that essentially the catch here?
That is, I think, our best value proposition because we can move the manufacturing to wherever the action is.
Exactly.
So we get this big printer, it prints like maybe the dozen parts that we need to assemble our drone. And, you know, you're right there. So if something, you need a part, it's just right there.
Okay, so let's talk about Modovolo. What phase are you at right now? Like this, I see you got winter's coming on your signage there. So you're in development stage for...
We are.
This is a new platform, right?
We put out an alpha version typically once or twice a week. We take it out and we, typically crash it. And then we make revisions and go from there. I mean, we're trying to get a drone to be revolutionary in that it's so light with these new materials that it can stay up in the air, for like 2 hours if it has no payload,
Wow.
An hour and a half with 1.5 kilos.
Wow.
So it's, we think of it as being revolutionary. And when you add the fact that it's 3D printed and people could actually get that printer and manufacture them themselves, we think we've got an excellent value proposition.
Can I see your arm there?
Sure.
Okay, so this is...
Point the Modovolo to the camera.
Oh yeah, come on, let's go. So this is one, like it's a star configuration, like a 4 or a quad?
It is a quad. And
Okay.
the other part about this that I think is noteworthy is it's designed to be modular. So
Okay.
if you wanted to fly, 8 kilos instead of 1.5, you snap the different lifts together to make it an octocopter rather than just a quad.
Okay, so you can change the core out.
That's right. So you can basically turn it into what you need it to be for whatever your use case is.
Wow.
And we custom print the payload section. So, if you had something that needed a specific type of casing, we can print that, custom print it.
Okay, so your platform, you've designed the props and printed them, it looks like.
That's right.
Okay, and your frame is yours. You've got control module and ESC module holders, everything. It's part of your frame integrated, right?
It's the ESCs and the motors are not
Right.
integrated into the frame.
Okay.
So when I'm talking about the parts that put the airframe together,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. Those are the printed pieces. But then, yes, the wiring we'll purchase and the ESCs we'll purchase, and we snap the propeller on top of them.
So you're from New York, right?
The company is in Utica, New York, and
Okay.
our testing facility is in Vernon,
Okay.
New York.
And so I guess what I'm kind of getting at is drawing to is it sounds like this is a ground up kind of right to repairability concept, right? So your idea is once you buy the drone, if you break it, you can fix it in your backyard with the right printer. So what material is this based out of? It's something that the filament that you can get?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of the filament providers, one of the composite material providers came up and saw that we actually used their Lighten was the name of the company, and
Okay.
we used them currently for our materials.
Okay.
Now, that's not to say that it can't change, because with all those iterations, we do try to make improvements on all levels, both the printing, the actual airframe itself, as well as the materials that go into the printing.
So if someone buys this now, and you have like revisions or beta versions of this, is it something that is essentially an open source design, or is this a closed source?
Well, it's using the Pilot stack.
Okay.
And so you could certainly customize the software to
Right.
have it do whatever you need for
Right.
it to do. But we do have the ability and the intention to make it so somebody who has a use case or a company that needs a steady flow of drones, they can buy the printer from us
Okay.
and manufacture other drones as well as replacement parts.
Okay. So the design, the shape files, everything else is part of the purchase agreement, or is it?
For the actual hardware, I don't think so. And it
Okay.
is patent
Okay.
protected, as is the printer.
Okay.
But it is the company's intention ultimately to distribute the manufacturing so it's closer to the places that the drone is
Okay.
actually being produced.
Right.
And we're encouraging, somebody to be able to modify the actual hardware design in kind of a licensing agreement with us, so they could actually make the drone conform more to what their use case is going to be. So not just necessarily software, they could do it with the hardware too, but it's
Right.
within the licensing umbrella.
Okay. So you're not only buying the hardware, you're kind of buying a license to the design.
When you buy the drone, you're not, but if you want to escalate from there,
Okay.
we have that.
There's different
option.
tiers.
That is what we are aspiring to do as a company with the
Okay.
drone.
That makes sense.
And our phase is very alpha. We expect to actually push the beta version out and get it over to me on the West Coast within like 6 weeks.
Okay.
And so we're going to call that our beta version, and we're looking to, by the end of the year, release our production version to these test pilots that we're trying to get together. And by that, we mean pilots that are willing to use a drone that hasn't been fully proven in a production capacity.
Okay.
And when they actually go, oh, wow, having twice the airtime is really making it so I don't have to change the battery so often. I'm getting home earlier so I can play more golf. Then that's who we want to get to, be our test pilots. Establish a use case that works for them, and then we want to market to that use case either along with them or independently.
So if someone wants to get involved in your test pilot program, when does that window open up, and how would they get in?
It's open now.
Okay.
If you go to our site, modovolo.com, if you click on pre-order, it costs a whopping $50 for you to be on that list, and it's fully refundable. So at any point you're going, hey, I still haven't gotten my production version and it's Q2 of 2026, you get your $50 back.
Okay.
But we're trying to fill like 2 or 3 slots for as many use cases as possible to be the guys that pioneer this, the early adopters, and they're going to get me, the chief test pilot, out to where they are to make sure that they can actually get this drone doing what it is that they want it to do.
Okay. Do you have some specs in mind, like system weight and endurance, or?
Yeah, well, we still in the early phases. So in terms of endurance and the life of the frame, we haven't gotten good data on that yet.
Okay.
But the flight time has been validating our engineer's aspiration. He did his master's thesis on some Reynolds flow and some modification that enabled, this elevated level of flight time.
Okay.
So,
do you have a price in mind or a target kind of segment in the market?
yes, our CEO is really aggressive in wanting to just own air mobility in this country, given how customizable everything is.
Okay.
And so he is putting this price point at $6,000.
Wow.
And if you're one of those pre-order guys, you could get it at half that if you're one of the guys that's helping us cooperate to get that use case established. And that's a little what I did when I founded Fly Guys, was I established like a template for each use case in terms of flying them. And that everybody flew DJI drones, but I was more, here's the procedure for how to do volumetrics. Here's the procedure and what you use to get time-lapse photography for construction.
Wow.
Stuff like that. So I'm doing that same thing here, but instead of it being the actual mission protocols, it's actually about getting the drone to perform up to our aspirations for that use case.
Wow. So bootstrap development is probably the best way to say.
I would say that.
Yeah.
I would say that, and we have a lot of active interest in the military.
Okay.
I and one of those guys over there are in charge of the commercial division.
Right.
So my vision for that is get somebody successful in a given segment or use case, and then market to that segment or use case either alone or in conjunction with my early adopter.
Cool. Well, thank you, Tim. I think that's awesome. There's a lot to go through, and I'm really eager to see a 3D printed drone hitting the market and have some flexibility. Not pun intended, but
No,
the way it does.
I get it. Me too.
Yeah.
And I like what you guys are doing too with the education that you're providing
Yeah.
up there. And I'm hoping to be able to get you guys some specs so you guys can actually teach people how to fly our drone on use Mission Planner, things like that.
Yeah, well, definitely. As things mature, why don't we get you onto the podcast and we can talk at length about it too.
I would love that.
Cool. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So thanks for watching this episode of our UAV Expo 2025 interview series here on Coastal Drone. If you want to catch the rest of the series, check out the full playlist linked below. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe for more Canadian drone insight, training, and news. And we'll see you in the next one.